somebody gonna help this man? Fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Jashana here to talk about House of the Dragon episode 8. Apologies in advance if you can hear noise. There are people here doing some work on my house. So I feel like it should be okay, but you might hear some clanging about. Apologies. We're just gonna have to deal with it. So yeah, episode 8. I mean, what a time. What a time to be alive. Something I forgot to mention the last time, and really, I mean, for the last couple episodes, I've thought about it a couple times and I just keep forgetting to mention it, is the interesting choice of removing Darren from the family. Darren was Viserys and Alicent's, third son then, right? Yeah. And I think he actually was after Aegon. I think he was in between Aegon and Aemond, if memory serves me. But I could be wrong about that, because I'm pretty sure he was around the same age as Jace. I could be incorrect, but he was a character who is non-existent apparently in this. And yeah, I think it's an interesting choice. I'm curious about why they did that, because during the Dance of the Dragons, he's pretty important. He does a few very key things, and he's known as Darren the Daring, I want to say, is his name. Yeah, so interesting that he's just completely cut out entirely. I'm wondering if they're gonna replace his actions with just a different character doing them, or if they're just changing that whole plot line altogether and what happens with him isn't gonna happen. I don't know. I'm also curious to see if they're going to, I don't think they are going to kill off Corlys right now, but they could. But that would be another interesting choice. That would be a choice that I don't think I would like at all, personally, just because, again, he plays a pretty large role in things to come. Yeah, so I personally believe he is just injured and unwell, but I believe he will come back and be fine. Vaemond was just on one this whole episode that he was present for. And he was being very selfish, obviously, because in the beginning, when he's talking to Rhaenys, he's mad at his brother and saying my brother has made all these horrible choices and blah, blah, blah. And all he cares about is the history books and it should go to me. He's very clearly just advocating for himself out of selfishness and ambition. And I mean, what he believes is the correct thing to do. But it's bro, your brother is the one ruling Driftmark. He's the Lord of Driftmark. These are his decisions to make. And his decision, despite his wife's wishes as well, his decision was, it's going to Lucerys. That is my grandson. I don't care what his blood is. He's got my name, and that's what matters. So that whole thing, I saw some reactors being I get what he's saying. I'm I get what he's saying, but I think he's incorrect. Because, I'm sorry that you're not the Lord of Driftmark, but you're not. You don't get to make these decisions. And, man, the proposal of betrothing Baela and Rhaena to Luke and Jace, great idea. Especially in this context, with the legitimacy of the sons being very, very kind of an open secret. Because then, especially for Corlys, that should make him and Rhaenys both happy. Because now, and also the brother, Vaemond should have been happy with that compromise too, but again, he was clearly he wanted to be the Lord of Driftmark. He didn't care as much about the Velaryon blood, like he said, because if he really did, then that betrothal proposition should have made him happy. Okay, even though I know these kids are bastards, and they are not actual of Velaryon blood, well, they're going to marry these girls that I know are Velaryon blood. So therefore, everybody should be happy. We've got the name, we've got the last name Velaryon from the boys, and we've got the Velaryon blood from the girls. So what's the issue? But again, he just wanted to be the Lord of Driftmark. And I think principle on principle or whatever, he was just like, they're bastards or whatever, which that was just so dumb. My God. And also different from the book. I don't even know if it is Vaemond in the book, but there are cousins, Velaryon cousins, who get their tongues cut out for speaking the treason of calling them bastards. So that was an interesting change and a shocking one. I was watching it, and me and my boyfriend were watching it, and I was just like, oh, he's about to lose his tongue. He's gonna get his tongue cut off. And then when Viserys was like, I'll have your tongue for that, I was like, see? And then just, chap! Both of us like jumped up and we're like, holy shit! So good. Gotta love Daemon, man. He's like just the absolute definition of fuck around and find out. But going back to that whole thing with Aegon and the chambermaid, Diana, fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. I cannot. And this is just more evidence of Alicent being wildly hypocritical. Just such a hypocrite. Because if she was truly all about honor and decency, as she claims to be and as she preaches about all the time and yells about and was so mad at Rhaenyra about, then she wouldn't cover up her son being a fucking rapist. Like, she wouldn't be paying this girl off and also kind of like guilt-tripping her and shaming her and scaring her and all the things. She just wouldn't be doing that. And, like, it's very easy for her to sit there and be like, you should be honorable and good and just and decent, until it's her and her family's asses on the line, potentially. And then she's like, oh, shit, yeah, I do want to cover this up. I don't want this to be common knowledge. And I'll get into something later with that whole scene and why the ending of this episode I don't love, but we'll get there. That scene with... First of all, the scene where Rhaenyra is in Viserys' chambers at night with the rain and like cinematic, just great scene as far as how it looked, but also just so sad. Her like sobbing, realizing he is just kind of gone and that she is alone in this. And it's like, I think her frustration too of knowing that he would advocate for her if he could, but just in that moment being like, he's so gone right now. So then when he shows up, oh my God, so emotional. And dude, the fucking music, I just can't. I'm still so mad that a couple years ago, once season 8 was over, the Game of Thrones concert that like tours, and they have the music, like a live orchestra doing all the music from the show, and like big huge screens showing like the scenes, and I wanted to go so bad and I didn't for whatever reason, and I'm still mad about it. I hope they do it again at some point, maybe at least for this show, if not for Game of Thrones. But man, yeah, the score was just so good, the music was so good. When he was hobbling down, I kept being like, somebody can help this man. But then when someone did offer to help, one of the soldiers, and he's like, nah, I'm good, I'll be fine. And I was like, oh, he's trying to do it himself, right? And oh my God, when Daemon went to help him, I for sure got emotional because it was just like so beautiful. And it's just like so sad. I know it's all fictional, this isn't real, but it's just so sad, like thinking about what could have been. I mean, first of all, what could have been if Rhaenys had been allowed to be queen, because things would have been obviously very different. I think she would have been a good queen. Corlys would have been a good king regent or king consort or whatever. King consort. And I mean, she's still like doing really great health-wise. Like she would have had a long rule and all of these issues wouldn't be happening. I mean, there might have been other issues, but... And if, like, Alicent hadn't been such a dutiful little daughter and gone and married him, and just so many coulda, woulda, shouldas. But another one being if Daemon had been allowed to be the hand of the king, that would have drastically changed things. Imagine, even he could have married Alicent still, and maybe Alicent and Rhaenyra would have had a rift. But if Daemon had been the hand of the king, I think things would have been very different in all of that. I don't know, it's just so sad, but it's like also so touching, because at the end of the day, he loves his brother and his family, and I mean, we know that about Daemon, that's not a secret or anything, but it's just so touching to see. Yeah, Aegon is just such a fucking douche canoe. I hate his sniveling ass. Obviously, I mean, he's a terrible person out here raping chambermaids and then being like, oh, it's just a bit of fun. Like, sir, fuck off. Just horrific person. But also just like such a twat douche canoe with at the dinner when he's being all like, oh, if you want to be satisfied. Like, dude, shut up. You're so fucking annoying. And just an idiot. Like an immature, childish, just fucking idiot. I cannot stand him. Ugh. And Jace and Luke are just like so much better in every way than Alicent's stupid ass kids. Jesus Christ. I saw Olivia Cook doing some interview or something and talking about, as part of like the character for Alicent, like recognizing that it's just another thing for her to be resentful toward Rhaenyra about, is that Rhaenyra is a better mother. And that like Alicent clearly sees that like she's doing better at being a mom than she is. It's just another reason for her to be jealous and resentful and like, fuck you, you're living the life I want. But it's like, girl, you could be a better mom. You just suck at it and your kids are trash. Helena's fine. She feel bad for that girl. She needs to be with the other side of the family, I think. Yeah, during the dinner scene, I have Aegon is such a douche canoe, and then separately, Aegon, shut the fuck up. I hate him. Oh my god. And yeah, Rhaenyra, once again, giving the first olive branch, once just like she did when she offered to have Jace and Helena be married, which, again, another thing that could have solved so many of these problems. Yeah, Rhaenyra again. And I do think that both of them, Rhaenyra and Alicent, in that moment, in that scene at the supper, were very genuine. I think they were very genuine. I think Alicent, as much as I cannot fucking stand her, like, she is just full of resentment and just anger about her life and whatever. And I think part of that is anger that what happened between her and Rhaenyra, that she lost that friendship. She had hardly any friends already and then lost the one best friend she had. And I think she just forever, like, wants that back. I feel like that was very genuine in that moment. And so it's just another bittersweet thing because we know it's not going to fucking last. Helena's speech was fucking hilarious. Oh, that poor girl. I saw someone on Twitter, people were talking about, like, speculating that she's, like, autistic coded, or saying that she's autistic coded, and referencing when Vaemon gets chopped, how her reaction was to, like, go like this and cover her ears and, like, look off to the side. And then obviously, like, her social cues and whatnot. But she does also seem to be, like, a dragon dreamer or whatever. Her beware the beast beneath the boards. I feel like, I think the theory that I've seen, the prominent theory of what that is referencing, I think is correct. It's something from the book, so I don't want to say, but it's something. And if it is what the theory is, it's just so sad that she, like, because I think with dragon dreamers that it's not like they necessarily always know, like, it's not like they're, like, seeing a clear vision of the future. They're just, like, getting these, like, thoughts and ideas and phrases or whatever, and, like, maybe little visions. So I don't think she knows what it means either, which is good, because if it is what we think it is, it's so fucking sad that, like, she would predict it, because it's something that happens with her and her family, and it's, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's the one that makes the most sense, though, the, like, theory that makes the most sense. And I don't know when it will happen, because I don't think there's supposed to be any more, like, drastic time jumps, like years time jumps or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know where this season is going to end. But anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens with Beware the Beast Beneath the Boards. And then that whole scene too, the music, once again, when everyone is getting along, you know, whether it's real or not. I think with the kids, it's very much like our parents are making us behave or whatever. But like I said, Rhaenyra and Alicent, I think it's genuine, and everyone's, like, laughing, and, like, Jace and Helena are dancing around, and the music is going, and that music was just so sad. And Viserys is sitting there, and it was just, like, such a bittersweet moment of him getting to see his family getting along as his, like, last time with them. And then when hell breaks loose with Aemond and the kids and what his whole the strong boys, whatever. I saw someone on Twitter saying that in that scene when Rhaenyra told her kids, like, everyone go to bed, just go to your chambers, go to bed right now. And then Daemon turns around and looks at Aemond and like crosses his arms or whatever. I saw someone who apparently is like a Greens, Team Greens, being like, look at the fear in his eyes looking at Aemond. I'm like, what? Did we watch the same scene? Because Daemon did not have any fear in his eyes looking at Aemond. He might have had a little bit of like respect, but also a little bit of don't fucking try me right now, bitch. And then Aemond like walks off, is like basically like submitting and like, okay, fine, I'm not gonna start shit, or I'm not gonna continue this shit with you. So I'm like, what are you guys watching? Like, that's not, there was no fear in his eyes. It just made me laugh. And we saw Lady Misery again, Mysaria, Daemon's ex-lover that he was acting like he was gonna marry and shit. And she's like, nah, man, I'm out. I imagine we saw her again because she's gonna start being more of a prominent character and taking up her role that she had in the book. We will see. And all right, man, the ending scene, I don't love that we're now playing it off like the Dance of the Dragons happens because Alicent misunderstood the insane ramblings of a drug-addled, dying man. I can't. There's so many things that I don't like about it. The whole prophecy thing wasn't a thing in the book, first of all. I didn't hate that they added that. Like in the first episode, when it ended with him naming her heir and telling her about the Song of Ice and Fire dream and prophecy. I was like, okay, I don't hate that they added that in. I saw some people being like, ew, don't love that. I didn't hate it because I'm like, they could make this make sense and make it work or whatever, and whatever. I wasn't mad at it. But then in this, I'm like, okay, there's just so much wrong with this because Alicent has no idea what he's talking about. She knows he's drugged up on Milk of the Poppy. She knows he's on his deathbed. And she clearly doesn't know what the hell he's referencing. It's obvious. Like, she's been with him this whole time, watching him deteriorate. I'm sure he's had wild mutterings other times where people are like, I don't really know what he's talking about. Like, just dementia brain. I'm sure. So I'm like, why is this the time that she's choosing to be like, I know exactly what you're talking about? If, like, you would be like, I don't know what he was saying. It kind of sounded like maybe he was talking about our son and saying he should be the heir, but, like, I don't really know. And I find it very annoying that she's just like, I got it, sweetie. You want him to be the heir. You're telling me on your deathbed that you actually want Aegon to be the heir, not Rhaenyra. Why would you think that? Why? What would make you think that? I can't. Because, again, and I know she's, like, crazy and whatever, but I'm like, I still think she's, I don't know, smart enough to have that thought process of, like, okay, it kind of sounds like he's saying that. I really don't know. And he, like, mutters a lot of random shit. And he's talking about some dream that I have no idea. Like, I have no frame of reference for this, so I really don't think this is a message for me. Whatever. But even if she does, okay, let's say she genuinely is like, that's what he's saying. I know exactly what he's saying. You in the same day, I think, this very same day, you told your son, your piece of shit rapist son that you're mad at, you told him, you're no son of mine. And you said that you believe Rhaenyra would be a good queen, and I think that was genuine. I think she does know Rhaenyra would be a good queen. And my son is a piece of shit, and probably would not be a good king. So, again, I just feel like, even though she's Alicent and everything, I just feel like in that moment, if she really did think he's telling me that Aegon should be the heir, she'd be like, he's also out of his mind and dying, and Aegon should not be the heir because he's a piece of shit. Just let Rhaenyra rule. Let's just let Rhaenyra rule. I have just had such a struggle bus moment with my fucking phone. Apparently, it was full, but then also the record button was just being janky, and I deleted a bunch of shit, and it still was being janky, and I just had to turn the phone off and start it again, apparently. What the fuck? But I really want to double check to see if it's recording now, because that's what it keeps doing. Just stops recording. with no fucking warning. So let me check. Okay, yeah, we're good. Really don't remember. I was yammering about the whole Allison thing. And then I've done this now twice, started talking again, only to realize it was once again not recording. So this is the third or fourth time. I'm trying to remember what the fuck I said. Yeah, I don't like the whole thing. And I've seen some people talking about like that they aren't mad at it and that for them it makes sense. Like Chris at Chris's Bookish Cauldron, my buddy on Twitter, who also has a booktube channel, Chris's Bookish Cauldron, was talking about feeling that it does make sense and that it works for him. And I saw other people saying this too, because Allison, like, that is her comfort zone. That resentment, anger, hatred, doggedness, and whatever is where she's comfortable. So she was kind of coming out of that, being very genuine with Rhaenyra and everything. But then it was almost like she was handed the opportunity to jump right back into that comfort zone. So she did. Even though, like, logically, she should have realized he's just muttering random stuff, and I don't even know if it's to me. Why should I assume that? I shouldn't. Rather than think that way, she's just like, yep, this is where I'm comfy. This is what I like. These are the feelings I enjoy sitting in. So for them, it makes sense. And that's a fair argument. I just wish they would have left it to what it is in the book, which is the whole Dance of the Dragons. I mean, like, it starts because there are people who believe that the Great Council of 101 decided this. And when they chose Viserys over Rhaenys, that decided it goes through the male line, no matter what. So there are, Alicent, the Hightowers, that's what they think. They believe the Great Council is the law. And then there are people who believe, no, the king himself gets to decide this. Jaehaerys just chose to let the council decide, but he could have made this decision himself. But Viserys chose, and it's Rhaenyra. So that's what we believe is the law. And that's what it boils down to. And then obviously in the show, they're showing us the interpersonal dramas as well, and fighting and infighting and whatnot, which is fun. But, like, I don't think we needed to add this misunderstanding, miscommunication thing into the mix. I just don't think it was necessary. We already have the drama. And I don't know if it was like a way to try to humanize Alicent or something, to like give her, like, well, that's why she believes it. She thinks he told her on his deathbed that Aegon should be heir. So that's why she's so dogged about it. I don't know if that's why they did it. I have no idea. I just don't love it. I don't love it. I didn't mind the prophecy being added, but I don't like it being used in this way. I don't think it was necessary, And admittedly, I just kind of don't love the miscommunication, misunderstanding trope in general. 99% of the time, I hate it, and I don't think it works or makes sense. And that might just be a personal thing because I'm not that type of person. If I have a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, or I don't for sure know something, like, I'm gonna ask. Or if I think someone misunderstood me, I'm going to communicate it to them. So it's like in my brain, I cannot wrap my head around these big miscommunications and misunderstandings being these major plot points in stories. So I don't love it. I think it was the Dance of the Dragons, why it's there, why it happens, makes sense without this added thing. It feels a little, like, cheap, I guess. I don't know. Don't love it, but it is what it is. I'm still very excited. I love the show. Doesn't make me hate the show or anything. It's still top tier writing, directing, acting, all of that. And I'm very excited to see where they're going to end in this season. I mean, shit is about to get fucking wild in these next 2 episodes, I'm sure. And definitely, like, into season 2. We are just going to see all the war crimes, murders, family members killing other family members. I mean, they're like all related at this point, right? Told you guys it was going to get very convoluted. The family tree just gets so... And man, where it ends up in the end, once the Dance of the Dragons is over, just is forever so sad to me. It's so sad and heartbreaking, and just like, I don't want to say like too much, obviously I don't want to like spoil things, but if they keep it with like where it ends up, it's just so like tragic, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give stuff away, but I'm very excited. I anticipate probably, I wonder if they're going to do like with Game of Thrones where episode 9 always was some kind of like holy shit moment. I wonder if they're going to do that in this show. We will find out soon enough. Yay. Of course, let me know what your thoughts were, or just leave a little emoji if you want to say hello. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.